All right, welcome to Module 3. In this module, our expert will go over demographics, interests, and placements. So get ready to take some notes and let's jump right in.
All right, so this is sort of where we tie everything together. We're going to do a full stack of, multiple overlapping layers of targeting to really precisely zoom in on the exact prospect that we're trying to track down. Of the scenarios and theoretical examples that we used, we're going to be focusing on 2 this time. So within Facebook ads, we're going to be focusing on that example where we were trying to target Indian or South Asian American business owners. And for the Google ads example, we're going to be using the scenario where we were trying to target people who are affluent in that special rich part of Virginia. And we're trying to sell them a golf club. Okay, so for starters here inside of Facebook, let's look at our targeting. I know we theorized that we might have done some research and figured out where the highest population in the U.S. was of Indian or South Asian immigrants or people of Indian or South Asian descent. We're going to pretend that we didn't, okay? Or, we'll pretend that we did, but we're not actually going to mess with that here. We're going to mess with the other demographics that we chose. For example, we said 40 plus was what we were looking for in that example. And so we're going to go with the date range of, oops, I chose the wrong drop down there. We're going to go with 40 here. For this one, let's say 65 plus. That gives us people over the age of 40. We'll say that gender was not a factor. And for demographics, let's go ahead and go into the detailed targeting and demographics. And let's browse and see if we can find that expat example that we were talking about. So here's expats. We could choose people who lived at one point in India, which is right here. And that would actually give us a pretty small group of people. So I'm not sure if I like that. And it's not that this represents a demographic reality. This only includes those people who have done things online that identify themselves to Facebook and its data collection processes as having formerly lived in India, okay? Which is probably a minority of people who actually have formerly lived in India. So although it's really cool, and you might use this sometimes, we're going to sidestep this one. And we're going to focus more on using our interest targeting like Bollywood to do what I think is a better job of targeting people who are from South Asia and living in the United States, or who are descended from those who were originally from South Asia. Now, we could do family of those who live abroad. I think that would give us a pretty big shot group. That's, 3.8 million there. And that's versus 110 million. So we could do that. Let's leave that unselected here, though, and let's go with the other things we were talking about first. Let's say Bollywood. Bollywood movies. So we've got 4.6 million people. 4.6 million people who are interested in Bollywood movies. Let's see if there's any other Bollywood-related interests. Music of Bollywood, okay. So that'll, as you can see, that kind of overlaps. It's the same group of 4.6 million. Let's try again. Bollywood. NBC Bollywood. These two here are probably pretty sizable. That's actually a Bollywood network or channel, if I'm guessing correctly. So Bollywood, NBC, Bollywood again. And as you can see, that potential reach is not getting bigger than 4.6 million. Nothing has changed here. Let's see. Bollywood Now, Bollywood Diaries, Bollywood Express, Bollywood Tabloid, Actress, Actresses, Times. So the biggest one I saw here was the Bollywood Now. And still, that potential reach has not grown at all, which means these all overlap with each other. Okay, these are all overlapping with each other. And by the way, this is all AND logic. Okay, it's all AND logic here, which means anybody who likes this one but doesn't like this one, again, based on Facebook's collection of people's behaviors and such online, And now that we've got Bollywood selected, let's just for grins, let's go to Browse, and let's choose that behavior. Let's go to expats and family of those who live abroad, and see what happens to that number group. I'm just curious. Okay, so with the and logic there, it's 8.1 million now. Now let's remove it, and let's say that we're going to narrow our audience, and this time go to behaviors this time. We go to expats and families of those who live abroad. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, that's just too tight. It's just too tight. So again, it's one of those situations where it's really cool. You could envision yourself using it if you needed to, but I'm pretty confident that this is a better audience right here, the one that happens to be interested in Bollywood. So here we're going with our and also must match, meaning the and logic here inside of this field. Make sure you're using this one. Let's go ahead and do business owners. All right, so let's see here. Employers, business owner as an interest, business owner as a job title, small business owner as an employer, business owner / engineer. And while we're going through these, we're looking at that size, audience size, in the little window to the right. All right, so the biggest one for business owner is this one here, 23 million. So that brings us down pretty small. Let's expand that by getting as much business owner related stuff as we can into this portion of our and logic. So let's go with business owner / engineer. Okay. I got that. 237. The small business owner. Okay, so that's probably a magazine, I assume. Okay, potential reach is still the same. Independent. Business owner. These are all pretty small numbers. Business ownership. Small business owners. Plural, and that's a behavior inside of Facebook. So Facebook has seen a behavior of some sort with its data collection that says that these people actually are business owners, as opposed to the interest, which is 8.1 million. Let's go with the behavior here and see what happens. Nice. So our audience almost doubled there. Well, it went from, what was it? 280 to 430. Let's see if we can get a little bit bigger. Small business administration. So people interested in the SBA are probably business owners more often than not. So that brings us up to almost 600,000. Let's see. Small Business Saturday. Small Business owners here in interests. That's 8.1 million. Let's try that. Okay, we're at 620,000, so getting bigger. All right. I don't want to touch the Small Business Saturday. That's really cool, but it's very, a lot of consumers are interested in Small Business Saturday because it's about consumers helping small businesses. So I'm going to skip that one. Small business software. That just a lot of this is just intuition, and intuition tells me that people interested in small business software would definitely be people who actually have businesses, or the vast majority of them at least. Let's try operator, owner operator. That's a good one. 640 now. Let's see if we can come up with anything else. Maybe restaurant owner. So that's pretty small. 32,000. Yeah, so you could keep drilling down. The important thing here, though, is that we've got and logic combining people who seem to be interested in business ownership or have a past indicator of business ownership in the opinion of Facebook's data collection, combined with people who fit that and like Bollywood, which tells me that this number right here, 640,000, is a pretty, I mean, I'm pretty confident that we have a lot of business owners of Indian or South Asian descent within that number. So when you combine that with the other things we mentioned, such as the location targeting, if you were to have done that research, and the age, this really is going to be a powerful way to target that group. And again, it gets around the issue of not being able to target an ethnicity or a specific type of descent directly on Facebook, which again, for obvious reasons, they have that disabled. They have that as not even an option. So if for some reason you needed to run this type, and I know it sounds goofy, why are you choosing to track down specifically people from one part of the world? It's because it's the perfect example of how powerful precision targeting can be when you overlap all of this stuff together. I don't know that there's any practical reason to do this type of targeting scenario that we used for this example. This just shows you sort of the extreme of how zoomed in and really honed in you can be on the perfect prospect. So let's move over to a Google Ads example now. And like I said, we'll be using the affluent targeting that we had done in the previous module, where we're trying to find people who are really rich in that county in Virginia. And that is right over here. So we've got our Loudoun County, Virginia location targeted here. Let's go down to audiences. Now, in audiences, you can do some pretty cool things. You can search for, it's kind of like Facebook, where they gather indicators of interest, and behavior and so on and so forth. So we could go after people who are interested in, let's say interested in banking and finance would probably be more affluent people, right? We could go after people who definitely own their home. I would say that's almost certain that we would want to target those people there. We could go after, we could go after some demographic indicators, such as top 10% of household income. So we would remove all of this and just go after the top 10% here. So that's one thing that we could do. We could go after website placements. Now, this is a big one, okay? Placements. We actually have data on this. Thanks to Google Analytics, we've got a lot of information on the most visited websites. It's somewhere on here. Here we go. The websites that are most visited by the largest percentage of the upper 10% of household income, basically. So 150,000 plus household income. The Real Deal is a website. It's a real estate website. 27.2% of their visitors have that or higher household income. That's pretty cool. That's pretty useful to know. Crunchbase, a finance site. DC Urban Mom, Lifestyle Parenting, 23.8 are $150,000 or more. We would skip that one, keeping in mind, we want everything to be relevant, and if we're going after golf clubs, if that's what we're selling, that is a hobby that tends to skew towards males, and so we would probably skip the Urban Mom one here. For Traders, finance, so that's 23.4. So let me show you. Let's say we were going to go through this. Let's say we were going to grab therealdeal.com and crunchbase.com. We could literally make our ads appear specifically on that. Let's say therealdeal.com. .com. See if anything comes up here. Therealdeal.com. Boom. So now we've selected that. As a placement, we could go to crunchbase.com. Let us think about that for a second. Website called crunchbase.com. Now, it's theoretically possible that that's not targetable for some reason. Let's come over here and look, make sure I had that. Crunchbase.com is finance. So crunchbase.com looks like it's not directly targetable. So we would have to skip that one. Let's see. DC Urban Mom, talked about that already. Let's say Market Watch. That one sounds familiar. Market Watch, 1/5 of all of their visitors have a household income of $150,000 or more. So let's do marketwatch.com. I've spent some time on MarketWatch, and I know that there are Google ad banner placements all over their website. Sidebar, up at the top, the banner area, marketwatch.com. For some reason, it's not letting me choose that specific one, though. That's interesting. Now, it does let me target their YouTube channel, so that's cool. Lets me target their mobile apps. That's cool. But the website seems to have some type of a setting, I'm assuming, that prevents people from specifically singling them out for website targeting, for ad placements. And that was also the case with Crunchbase, if you'll recall. So let's see if we can keep searching and find another one. Let's say OpenTable is a lifestyle food site. So let's try, oh, there's Leonardo DiCaprio right there. Oh, right there is MarketWatch. I've got my ad block enabled right now, so we can't see. But usually you would see banner ads here, ads in the sidebar, and they're all Google display network ads. Let's try, what was that one we just mentioned? OpenTable. Let's see if that's there. OpenTable.com. Boom. So we could add that. And basically, you could just start piling up based on data available, all these different websites and placements. And since this is the website traffic is an indicator of their audience in general, you could do what we did with MarketWatch and also target their YouTube channels and so on and so forth. And their apps, if they have mobile apps, you can run ads on there. Wherever the placements exist and wherever you can get them to cross with and correspond with where the data says that your audience is. And in this case, it seems like a lot of affluent people hang out on these websites and frequent these brands. That's going to help out quite a bit. And that's about as laser targeted as you can get, saying I want it to show up on these specific websites or apps or YouTube channels. And that's pretty powerful. So we basically targeted, in this example, the richest county in Virginia, possibly in the United States, but certainly in Virginia at least. And we've got the top 10 and the top 20% of household income demographics selected. And we've got a whole bunch of websites, apps, and some YouTube channels specifically targeted at places that rich people are known to frequent quite a bit. And that's pretty powerful. We've got a whole bunch of overlapping layers of targeting. That's a precisely targeted ad. Now, I want to mention one thing. We don't have to actually do it because it's really simple. You've seen it 1,000 times. It's search advertising. At the very beginning in Module 1, we talked about how you can actually combine another layer called intent. And intent basically just means people who are currently looking for something. They currently want something. So a person who is literally right there on Google or Bing typing in, I want to buy a golf club, or where to buy golf clubs. That person at that moment intends to buy a golf club. And that's incredibly powerful. I mean, that's huge. And so if you can combine some of these, like the geographic location and the income level, with search ads on Google, instead of like this one, for example, is a display ad, just that we're doing for this particular scenario. But if we were to do a search ad and it would show just to people who are searching for golf club related keywords, meaning they intend to buy one. That's why they're on their laptop right now, is to buy one. I mean, there's nothing more powerful than that. And combine it with income level and their geographic location. I mean, that's about as precision targeted as you can get. And that is incredibly powerful to be able to reach out to people when they're looking for something. So Google search ads combined with this other information here would also be super duper powerful. But that pretty much sums it up, guys. We saw how to layer all of these different targeting parameters together on Facebook, how to layer them together here inside of Google. And we talked about all the different layers of targeting that you can have. We did a couple of different scenarios And perhaps one of the most important ones here is the research aspect. Depending on what country you're targeting, a lot of this stuff is going to be public information, formal, official public information. There's also plenty of private institutions and entities that do this kind of stuff. Gallup, for example, is a polling company. Pew Research. There's so many different entities that do private research, private polling and data collection that can also be super duper useful to you. And in many cases, for those, you're going to have to pay sometimes for a membership to access some of their data. But a lot of their stuff is also published publicly in journals and in the news. So anywhere that you can use, ultimately Google is your friend. Anywhere that you can find demographic data that's going to help you target people and figure out how and where to track them down. And if you can include the gift of thinking outside the box, like we did with the Bollywood thing, you can really open up some incredible doors as far as getting straight to just a direct line directly to your perfect exact prospect that you're trying to track down. So hopefully this was useful information for you guys, and you go out there and put this to use in your next ad campaign.